Hi guys, Thomas and Friends 47 here, and I am so excited for this video. So a few months ago, Sidekick Jason Productions made a Patreon account. It's a really cool place. I would definitely recommend checking out. It's only $1 a month, and you get to see all the great things that are going on behind the scenes. Of course, on Season 3, and then so many other updates. It's really exciting what's coming up, and I highly recommend signing up for that. There's a link to it actually in the description. But on that Patreon, they actually announced that they would be releasing some of their props that they used in the official, their series, as well as items from their personal collection. And Patreon members had the first options to purchase those items. And I was so excited because I was able to purchase some of those items, and we're going to take a look at them here in this video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so first up we have this great factory building here. It's like a warehouse of sorts, and you can see here where it was used on the Lakeside set, which is very nice. Lots of great details here. Now, what's really neat about these buildings, they're made out of styrofoam, and they've all been hand-painted, all been hand-carved, and they just look really cool, and I'm excited to put this in the background for my series here on my channel as well. Alright, next is this warehouse building, again used in the Lakeside set. We have lots of great details here, and they're, like I said, styrofoam, and then they've been printed out the details and then glued to the sides. Here's the back of the building. Here's a look at the top and the bottom. And you'll see that they all, some of them have like little coding here, so LS52, that's Lakeside. And then here's the ticket office, also from Lakeside. Now what's neat about these buildings, these were meant for the narrow gauge sets. So a lot of the details are a little bit larger than standard HO scale. And that's so that it mixes and matches well with the narrow gauge engines, which I think is a nice touch. Here's this background building, also used in a Lakeside set. There was other instances of it being used too. And there's the bottom. Then here are these little cottages. I really like these. Again, lots of great details on these. Here's the side of the building, the back, the other side, and the top, and the bottom. Alright, next this little house that was used, I believe on Lakeside, but also in the Sodor Scenes episodes, where it's like shown all the different roadways and stuff. And then there's the bottom. Alright, and then this is the narrow gauge signal box. I love this thing so much. It looks so cool. It's very well detailed too. Here's a look at the other side, the top, and the bottom. Alright, and then these are little houses that were used in various background scenes, like at Knapford Village. I believe they were in the Sodor Steamworks video or Knapford video. They've been used a lot in the background just to recreate those villages and the scenes, like you can see there. And I'm really excited to put these to build up my villages on my layout someday, and of course my series here on the channel. Here's a look at the top and the bottom. And then again, here's another size building. Now, I have multiple of these. I have 3 of the blue, 3 of the beige, 3 of these. I just didn't show them all here in this video. Here's a look at the top. And then, of course, the bottom there. Alright, then here is another type of townhouse. These look so cool. Alright, next up is this warehouse that was from, again, the Lakeside set, and this is one of the older models, I believe, but it looks very cool, in my opinion. We have the chimney there, that's very neat, very tall. Here's the back. Very tall there, and these are all made out of styrofoam. Alright, next up is this part of the narrow gauge sheds here, and this is from the, I want to say, the Mid-Sodor Railway. So this is when, Duke and Peter Sam and Sir Handel were all working on the railway there, and that's a little space there for Smudger. Here's the side of the sheds. Looks very nice. And it's a little bit in rough condition because these models are older. And this was, you know, shipped halfway across the country. But I plan on, you know, fixing the small details, and I have all the pieces to fix those. Same way with this little shed here. So it looks very nice. I'll restore it back, though, to what it was. Alright, next up is this little narrow gauge shed here, and it looks very nice. I really like the foam aesthetic here because it makes it look like, you know, the concrete brick. It looks really nice. Here's a look at the top and the bottom. Alright, next we have this steam paddle boats building here, again from the Lakeside set. A lot of these are the narrow gauge buildings. I think it was pretty cool. Here's a look at the top, and then of course the bottom. And then here's this nice shed too. This is, I believe, narrow gauge, but you could easily use it with standard gauge as well. And I plan on using it in my layout and set. And then it also comes with this door piece there, which I think, again, is pretty cool. You can see how it fits there with the track. And it's styled so that you can flip it around. Then you have different hinges there so they can make different aesthetics. Very neat. Alright, next up is this signal box, and I love the signal box from the show. It just looks so cool. You can see the little window details there, and this was seen in multiple scenes in his series, but especially like the Adventure Begins remake. Like, it's so cool. There's a look at the top and the bottom. Alright, and next up is this bridge here, and this is a very classic piece of Thomas and Friends, you know, the world of Thomas and Friends. It's seen in the opening intro, and then, of course, in various other scenes as well, but I'm very happy to have it here in my collection. Next is this tunnel portal, and this looks really cool, I think, as well. I'm excited to build some scenes with this one. And the bottom. Alright, and then next up is this road bridge, which I believe was from Wellsworth Station. Very nice to have this. Here's a look at the top and the bottom. Alright, next up is this shed here from the quarry, and I absolutely adore these sheds. I actually got 3 of these. Excited to put these in the quarry and on various other locations through Sodor. And then here is this water mill here. This was seen from the narrow gauge set. I want to say it was from the station. I don't remember what station name, but it was from one of the stations. Looks very nice. And then we have this nice bridge here. This is from the Gordon's Hill set. Very nice to have that in the collection too. Here's a look at the top and the bottom. Alright, and then we have this nice little platform here, little curved station platform. And I want to say that's from the Mid-Sodor Railway as well. And the bottom. Alright, and now we have this nice station here. I want to say this is Reneus Station? I want to say. I'm not as fluent with the narrow gauge stations, narrow gauge railways as I should be. Here's a look at the top. You can see the fence broke off there in transit, but I'll glue that back. And then here's a look at the back and the side. Here's a look at the top and the bottom. Alright, now is Glenwick Station, I want to say. Again, I love the details here. The doors, like I said, they're a little bit larger than what would normally be, so it fits with the narrow gauge aesthetic, and it just looks so cool. I really like that splash of blue with the post too. It looks very nice. Yep, Glenwick Station. And then here's the other platform. Alright, and then here is Crovens Gate Station, and this is one of my favorite stations, both from the series and from Jason's series, and it just looks so cool. Now, what's really neat about this, and I don't know if y'all know this, but the stations are at 2 different platform heights. So the narrow gauge platform height is at a shorter length, or shorter height, and then the Crovens Gate side for the standard gauge is at a taller height. And with Trackmaster models, all he did was he put an extra support underneath the track to make it look like it was taller than the narrow gauge engines. It was so smart, but so simple, but it was really effective and it was really cool. Alright, and here we have the other side of the platform here. You can see how long this platform is. Unfortunately, I did break during shipping there, but I'll fix that back. It's nothing glue can't help. Then here's a look at the top of the platform and the bottom. Alright, and then this is the good station that we've seen from the classic series. Used here is, you saw that little picture from the set there, it just looks so good. And it's weird too seeing these at these angles because we've only seen them from specific angles in Jason's series, so it's cool to see a 360 look like this. Alright, then we have the station here from the Down the Mine episode. I really want to try to recreate that pilot episode someday. That'd be cool to do that, especially with the station. Here's a look at the bottom. And then here's a look at the other side of the platform. And I love these posters that he's added too. It's just such a nice touch. Very, very cool. Here's a look at the side. Here's a look at the back. And then here's a look at the top. And the bottom. Alright, next up we have this nice little road bridge here that goes up to the hill. I think that's pretty cool. And this is made out of that plaster cloth. You can see that on the bottom there, just cardboard plaster cloth. And these are the trees that he used for the S-track set, so where that narrow gauge track goes through the forest. Very, very nice to have these in the collection. Alright, and then here is the little water tower from the narrow gauge railway. Excited to add those as well. Alright, then here are the level crossing gates, and I was really excited to get these because I love level crossings. They're one of my favorite parts of railways and Thomas in general, and it's just nice to have that here in the collection as well. Alright, and then this is the longer one. So the first one you saw was from the 2-track. This is for like the 3-track version of the level crossing. And then this is a Hit Toys water tower. It was actually used in scenes in this series as well, but I wanted to have that as well in the collection. This is from the dry roadbed set, or riverbed set, where the narrow gauge bridge goes over. And you can see, it was made so simply, so cool, using little Lego pieces there and then putting plaster cloth over. And I really love this too. It's like this nice vignette of a shed, but that you can line it up, and when you film the shots inside, it actually makes it look like it's inside the shed. It's so smart, and something that I would like to replicate someday. Very nice. Alright, next up is this kit. Now, this wasn't screen used, but it was something that I wanted for my collection because I love the design of this church here. It looks very much like the one we see on the show. And then here's this nice coal loader here, too. I'm excited to try that out. Of course, put that on the layout. Alright, next up is this building. This is the Tidmouth Dairy building, and we've seen this a lot on the Tidmouth Sheds set. There's the bottom. And speaking of Tidmouth Sheds, this is probably one of my favorite items. This is Jason's modified custom Bachmann, you could say Bachmann the Trackmaster Tidmouth Sheds, and it just looks so incredible. I can't believe that I have it here in person, and just, oh my gosh, it's amazing. But what he did was he actually shortened the back length of the panels, so he's cut those down so that way it doesn't have as much of a rounded shape, so it looks more like the TV series, and it's so smart the way they did it, and it just looks absolutely amazing, and I just can't stop talking about it. I love it so much. Of course, we have a little turntable here too. Of course, the track that goes into the sheds, he custom made that too. And then we can see here it looks great with HO scale there. Of course, included with the order was this nice little postcard here with Jason's signature. I'm very excited to have that in my collection, and you kind of see all the buildings here together, and there's even more that I could not fit all on this set. A lot of them are the duplicates of the houses and everything. Alright, so all in all, what do I think of these buildings? Let me tell you, I'm so excited to have these in my collection. Like, I'm almost speechless, but also can't stop talking. I love these. I grew up watching Jason's series when I was a kid. Ironically, in this very room that we're filming in right now was my childhood home, and this room in particular is where we live out in the country, so, you know, a little bit of TF47 history. I live out in the country, and I lived out in the country back then, and way back in the olden times, where cell signal service wasn't the best. We only had one spot in the house where cell phone service worked, and it was this room, and it was right here at the window, and I would have to sit on, we had a little bench that was right here, and I would sit there, and I would get as close to that window as possible so I could get internet access, and I would watch YouTube, and I would watch Jason's series, and I loved his series so much because it was, you know, very faithful to the original TV series, and it really felt like classic Thomas was back. I grew up watching that series, and it was the reason that I started writing my own stories, and eventually even actually got to work with Jason. So just so many wonderful memories from his series, and when I saw that he was, selling some of these items, I knew that I had to get some of them, and I'm just so happy that I'm able to add these into my collection and just have them here with me. My favorite piece out of all of them has to be Tidmouth Sheds. I love Tidmouth Sheds so much. That and definitely the signal box, the over-the-track signal box. I love that too. But in honesty, I love all of these buildings so much. I'm excited to put them on my own layout as well as use them in my videos going forward. So you'll see those in my videos going forward too. But I'm just so happy to have these. Jason, I want to thank you so much for selling these, giving me the opportunity to have these in my collection. Be sure to check out the link below. He also has his own eBay shop now where he's selling other items from his collection. I believe there's a few more buildings left. There's also pieces from his collection like Trackmaster items, Take and Play items, I think some wooden railway items as well at the time of filming, so be sure to check those out. A lot of good things there, pretty good prices too. But all in all, I'm just so happy to have these in my collection. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below, and let me know what your favorite building is from Jason's series down in the comments below as well. Anyway, this is TF47 signing off. I'll see y'all again very soon. Bye for now.